We quickly get an introduction of the Pirate King as he was about to get executed. He delivers this speech that inspires countless pirates to find his legendary treasure, the One Piece. And then many years later, we get the backstory of our main character, Monkey D. Luffy. So the first two parts of this book would start out showing us the backstory of Luffy, who and what inspired him to be a pirate, and it would end with Luffy and his two crewmates, Zoro and Nami, leaving an island that they just saved from a pirate captain, Buggy the Clown. And a couple of the most memorable moments in part 1 will of course be Shanks, Luffy's inspiration, saving him from this giant sea monster, giving up his arm. In the process, Luffy learns the importance of how actions can actually cause consequences.
Need a distraction? Something to enhance the mood? Or peculiar alternate reality concepts? Well, we recommend giving us a visit with the link on screen for your own uncensored creative arts pieces. Give in to the temptations. Become inspired without tags. $1. Custom offers $2. Exclusive ownership for whatever you request. $50. Waiting period is 24 to 48 hours. Cheers.
It also shows us how Luffy gained the ability of rubber. He eats a fruit that Shanks' crew had in a box, and that gave him the power of rubber. And Luffy, years later, as a teenager, got a little bit of help from Kobe, who he also saved from some evil pirates. Kobe took him to an island. He rescued Zoro, who is a swordsman. Zoro becomes Luffy's first crewmate. Kobe then goes on to join the Marines. Nami becomes part of their group. Afterwards, she is a thief and is also a navigator. And together they helped battle this pirate captain, Buggy, which leads to a battle between devil fruits, between Luffy's Gum Gum fruit and Buggy's Chop Chop fruit. And that was that. Cowardly Usopp overhears a plot about conning and murdering a wealthy girl of his village who happens to be his best friend and love interest. So part 3 of this book, this East Blue Saga book, starts off with us being in a new village. It starts off with Luffy, Zoro, and Nami. They land on Syrup Village to meet Usopp, who is this village liar. They ultimately become friends. Usopp has this girl called Kaya who's sick, but he tells her stories to cheer her up. A series of events take place after that in which pirates ended up chasing down Kaya, and this was because the butler, Klahadore, turns out to be Captain Kuro, a notorious and dangerous pirate. He betrays Kaya's family, tries to get her to sign over her fortune. This went on into Usopp trying to save Kaya, Luffy, Zoro, and Nami chipping in. Luffy battling Captain Kuro, who is this skilled fighter using hand blades and has a tendency to just disappear during the fight. But ultimately, Luffy defeated Kuro. Usopp joins as the next member. We get to the Baratier restaurant, which is a floating restaurant. There's a chef by the name of Sanji that's there. He is the main side character. A pirate called Don Krieg flees the Grand Line, came to the Baratier for food and refuge. He gets fed, then he starts causing a lot of trouble. The Straw Hat Pirates, they were there, they were mixed up in the whole thing. World's strongest swordsman, Mihawk, was the one that was hunting down Don Krieg. Zoro challenges Mihawk to a fight. He loses convincingly, but pledges to get stronger. And this part ends with Sanji joining. Nami actually leaves the crew. Okay, in this part 5, we get Nami's backstory. It's the saddest backstory in the entire series up to this point. We know that she works for a group of fishermen, the Arlong Pirates basically. So she was working undercover with them in order to buy back her village, which they have been terrorizing for several years. And we also see that she had a mom that raised her and her sister. Her mom was killed by Arlong, the captain of these fishmen. But Arlong made a promise to Nami that if she can raise a certain amount of money, he was going to leave the Kokoyashi village and set her free, basically, because she has been basically enslaved into being their navigator since she was a child. And then eventually she finds out that Arlong was lying. He was never going to honor his agreement. So all the time that she spent stealing, all of that was essentially for nothing. Luffy and the crew, they heard Nami's backstory, partially from Nojiko and then from Nami herself in a way. And Nami got to a point she was using a knife to try and carve the Arlong pirate's tattoo off her shoulder, and Luffy grabbed her, stopped her. She asked for help. They all promised to help her, and this leads to an epic walk to Arlong Park with Luffy, Zoro, Usopp, and Sanji all going to help her. They battle the fishmen. Luffy defeats Arlong, they save Kokoyashi village, and Nami rejoins, this time officially, as the navigator of the Straw Hat Pirates. Final part of this first book of One Piece. If One Piece was written as a book, this is book 1, part 6. This will cover the Logtown chapters. It starts off with us seeing Luffy's bounty, because Luffy has been putting in work in the first 5 parts of this book. He has defeated multiple popular pirates from the East Blue, so he has now gotten a bounty, his first bounty from the Marines. It is 30 million berries. We get Logtown, which is said to be the town in which the Pirate King Gold Roger was executed. This is where he gave his big speech. Luffy was hunted down and captured by Buggy. Buggy returns. Buggy was close to executing Luffy before a storm showed up and Luffy escaped. No, Smoker, who is this powerful marine, he has the smoke devil fruit. He showed up, he tried to arrest Luffy. Some mysterious figure called the Dragon showed up, saved Luffy. We get word that Dragon is a notorious criminal, but he saves Luffy, and then Luffy and the Straw Hat Pirates, they set off. They all made their own individual pledges for what they want to be and the dreams that they want to accomplish, and they set sail for the Grand Line. And that ends part 6, and that ends the entire book. So yes, if One Piece was a book series, a traditional text fantasy series, the first book would end right here as they set sail.